Mythology talks about a rich and prosperous community, thriving in wealth and abundance, blessed with opportunities and fulfilling all their needs. And then there was an oppressed community, living in suffering and exploitation, working hard for survival and sustenance and living a low life. They both coexisted in the same physical world, but existed as if they are in two completely different dimensions, detached from each other.
Hi all, I am Mehul Raghavan and this is Development Discourse. The video that we just saw is not just a mythical story, it is a real life scenario of the migratory laborers and the challenges they are facing. As you must have guessed, today's topic is migratory laborers, and the whole analysis that we'll be doing will be classified in two sections, that is a macro analysis and a micro analysis. In the macro analysis, we'll be asking larger questions like is migratory laborers part of the economy? Is it expected out of an economy? Is it representing a healthy economy? Is it representing a weak economy? Is it good for the economy? Is it bad for the economy? All these kind of larger questions of why the migratory laborers exist in the economy. These kind of questions will be asked in the macro analysis, and in the micro analysis we'll be asking the deeper questions like what are the factors or the drivers that are making the migratory laborers to take this radical decision of leaving the local ecosystem, leaving the local support system and moving to a distant location like a town looking for job opportunities. What are the drivers or the challenges that is leading them to make these kind of choices? This will be coming under the micro analysis. Why ask these kind of questions? Why I do this kind of analysis? Because even the media seems to be oblivious about many of these challenges being faced by the migratory laborers. This is quite evident while the media make a statement like once these people go back to the local ecosystem, the farming will flourish and it will benefit the economy. How much substance is there in these kind of statements that is being made? If that was so true, why couldn't they have done it in the first place? Why do they came to the urban areas looking for job opportunities? So this is and also the media seems to represent the larger interest of the middle class, who are the main subscribers, and this leads to a conflict because many times the interest of the middle class doesn't coincide with the interest of the labor class or the small farmers, and this leads to a challenge. And irrespective of where our interest lies, it is important to address these challenges and important to address their concern because they are pillars of the economy, and the sustenance of the very economy lies in the sustenance of this marginalized community. Marginalized not in terms of numbers but in terms of the resources they receive. So not just humanitarian reasons, but there is also very strong economic reason for the sustenance of this marginalized community. Let's start by discussing about the macro aspects of the migratory labor challenges. The kind of development that we know has always been concentrated. It is concentrated in an area called towns. It has the right kind of resources and facilities, so all the development happens in that concentrated areas. And historically it has been happening like that, where there are rivers and all those resources available, where there is facilities for agriculture, people started concentratedly living in that areas. So in those areas where there is more economic opportunities getting created, jobs getting created, there is automatically there is a requirement for skilled and unskilled labor and all those laborers, and it's very natural in such an economy that the people from outside or very remote villages come to those areas looking for job opportunities, and even these towns needs those people to actually fulfill their aspirations of development. So how this traditional sector, that is the agriculture sector, and the modern sector, that is the industrial sector, is interacting through laborers is explained through a model called Lewis model proposed by Sir Arthur Lewis. One of the graphs associated with this model is shown in the screen. You can see that as the number of laborers are increasing, the productivity is increasing, which is quite obvious. But after a certain point of time, when the number of laborers are increasing, the productivity is not increasing proportionally. It's almost stagnant. So this is actually showing the region of hidden unemployment. So these people are not really required in the sector, but they are anyhow there. So this is quite relevant in Indian agriculture sector because the available land is minimum. Also, we are not, although we are not doing any mechanization in agriculture, this is actually lead to larger labor being required. But when there is even more labor being included in the sector, this actually doesn't contribute to productivity after a point of time. So if the industrial sector creating job opportunities can absorb the surplus labor towards the industrial sector, that's a win-win situation. The agricultural sector is also not affected, the industrial sector is also flourishing, and the whole economy is flourishing. But if this threshold is not maintained, if more and more people get lured by the wages of labor in the town areas and leave the farmland behind and come to town, this will actually hamper the agricultural productivity. But one of the other related concern is that when more and more people come to town, whether there is a surplus labor in town, this will actually lead to reduction in wages of these laborers. And the other associated concern is the kind of living conditions these people are provided. Most of these people who are coming to towns have to live in slums, concentrated in an unhealthy environment, and also the children are not getting the required education. So overall, when you are doing a macro analysis, these are the concerns. So initially, when there is a migration which is absorbing the surplus labor in agriculture, this is actually benefitable to the sector. But when the migration is going beyond a threshold, it will actually lead to reduction in productivity of the agriculture sector. So this is the whole macro analysis associated with the migratory laborers. And let's move to the micro analysis. Let's get into the micro analysis of why a farmer or a laborer leave the local ecosystem and go to towns for looking for job opportunities. Many times it is only perceived as a pull factor of the attractive wages in towns, but other than that, there are various push factors as well. So agriculture has quite transformed in Indian context in recent times. One thing is the productivity of the land is reducing, and also there is fragmentation of land. The kind of analysis that we are doing here, we are trying to bring facts from the field. So the data that is presented here is based from one of the villages in Madhya Pradesh that is called Paikeda, and it is a typical Madhya Pradesh village with half of the households associated with migratory labor. All the data is from the household survey that we have done from there, and we can see that from one of the graphs, the majority of the farmers are small and marginal farmers, and the land fragmentation challenge is quite prominent, where when the new generation comes in, the land keep on dividing. So it has reached a point where for small and marginal farmers, many a time, because of the uncertainties associated with rainfall, the fluctuating market prices, added with this small piece of land, there is no economic viability in doing farming in this particular piece of land. So this will actually lead to when we actually try to compare the income from this small and marginal land to that of the income that we can generate from the going through migratory labor. The comparative graph is shown below. It shows that the migratory labor is able to earn a good amount of money, which is better than or comparable to the earnings from a small piece of land and a marginal piece of land. And it is not just that. Along with agriculture, there are so much uncertainties associated with the availability of crop input, extension services, rainfall, market prices. So all these uncertainties are also associated with agriculture. So coping with all those uncertainties, and also there is an option of getting an attractive wages going to town. These are all these pull and push factors together is the reason for a farmer to actually leave their agricultural land behind and go for options like industrial labor. There are scenarios like migratory labor is crossing the state boundaries and going for other states to looking for job opportunities. There's always arguments like these people are stealing their local jobs, or maybe they are destroying the local culture and all those things. But the very phenomena that these people are able to come to this another town and have an attractive wages shows that the local ecosystem is not able to fulfill the need of the laborers. That's why there is attractive prices are being offered. So it is not so much just that the other people are just coming and stealing the job, but they are actually providing a helpful service, which a need that you are not able to fulfill locally, that is being actually provided through these migratory laborers who are coming across the state. So we have to evolve from these binary arguments and need to understand if an economy needs this kind of migratory laborers, that has to be provided. And what we need to take care of is that when these attractive prices are luring people from far away to come look for job opportunities, the ecosystem should also be ready with the kind of infrastructure facilities to accommodate these laborers and provide them the right living conditions, provide education to their children, giving them better health facilities. All those things should be provided by the ecosystem, and that needs to be taken care of. And regarding the kind of addressing this issue in the post-COVID scenario, I think the first thing, okay, the migratory labor scenario may diminish in the coming future because of the challenges that has been faced, but the binary statement that it will automatically make the agriculture more attractive and it will flourish agriculture is kind of not looking very certain. And the kind of things that we can do as an economy is to give the right support system. The local people are given the training, who are not having landless, who are able to acquire some skills. They are given the right kind of training so that they can acquire skilled labor in the nearby vicinity of the ecosystem, or maybe who are interested in taking entrepreneurship, they are provided the right amount of loans, and given the associated support system so that they can maybe start small enterprises. So all those things, so that, and also providing extension services and maybe input services for the farmers, so that even a small piece of land, the agriculture becomes more beneficial. So all these things being taken care of, the local ecosystem can maximum absorb the kind of jobs that is there in the village. And again, this will not solve the whole problem. The migratory labor is a reality, and that will definitely be sustaining. So whoever is coming for migratory labor, how can we provide them better living conditions and standard of living and infrastructure facilities so that the whole ecosystem is benefited, and even this marginalized community also doesn't suffer.